Introducing Fear Chooknz. Now, of course, from last time, being Chook Driver Extreme, Chook is basically a cooked chicken. It is an Australian and New Zealand term. It also means someone who is a fool, because we sometimes we do use chicken to explain the character of people. For example, when we call someone chicken, we are very much implying that they are a coward. But that's not why we're here, because we're not cowards and we're not going to fear chickens. This is the first thumbnail. That I believe that is a chicken sculpted with a top hat. Seems to be a part of a larger scheme. And that is the title drop already. We don't even need to enter the game. So this game was apparently updated beginning of 2013, January 8th, but it was published on August 17th, 2012, which actually makes it a little bit... So the game before this one, Chook Driver Extreme, was, I believe, released around July 2012. So I believe there's a month of difference here. Let me actually look that up. Yeah, this Chook Driver Extreme was released around July 11th, 2012. This one around August 17th, 2012. A month difference. And plus 6 days, but it's neither the here nor there. The description does not exist. Just the directions. Use arrows and the Z key. This game is by Jake Clover, and the music is by Cybercrime, which is interesting because that we would call that the act Cybercrime, but here it is a person, because you would think, oh, cyberpunk, because a punk is cyber, just logically. This game has mild cartoon violence and is for all ages, because I guess our toddlers are okay with mild cartoon violence. Game Jolt Fear Contest. So one of the more obvious things is this is actually in full screen. I did not have to force this into any sort of borderless windowed mode or have OBS alter the display for this game. I wonder what happened. Just interesting. Just like that tiny little bit of flavor. What happened? Whatever. I guess full screen games came back in style. Yeah. Okay. I'm pushing the Z. I'm pushing the arrow keys. Oh, you have to push spacebar this time. Oh man, we're a top hat dude with guns akimbo. Now, see, I did mention the top hat before. I don't really think much of top hats. I wouldn't say that they're out of style, but I don't think that they're like the pinnacle of the term, if I may use it, metrosexual. I barely know what metrosexual means. I guess what metrosexual means is like someone who is groomed, they have a suit and tie. Maybe not at all times. It would be cool if they did have a suit and tie while they were simply lounging around. I have no idea how you turn around, by the way. I think you have to just let them pass. I can't turn around. If you've been wondering why I'm letting chickens amass behind me. Look, I can't turn around. I can't jump now, right? There's no gap. So I'm kind of forced to take this movement. And now they're back in formation right in front of me. Horizontal. No more verticality. But again, oh, now it's the big dude. This is the dude in the thumbnail. Oh, no, he's immediately gone. Didn't even have a time to recognize him. Can you imagine that? You recognize an old friend, but only for just a brief moment. I've never had that happen to me, I think. And the times where I think it has happened to me, I think were not real times. It was just me, pretending. It was an illusion. Simply a spell cast upon some sort of cosmic order to put them in the same exact supermarket that I happen to frequent. But alas, right? Sometimes supermarkets do contain doppelgangers. Oh, is he gonna stick around? I tried to jump. That's my testimony. Oh wow, you can actually multi-kill this piercing bullets. Very much unlike Path of Exile sometimes, because you have to actually invest in Path of Exile. If you're using Ice Shot, I mean, right, you got the cone and you got the cone, the ice cone, which now that I think about it must be on purpose, right? Those dudes down in New Zealand and their humor. And if it's not on purpose, well, I mean, it just fits anyway. So they're definitely thinking about it on the technical side. And here, right? Oh, well, again, he's just gone. An old friend just disappeared. And this is kind of hard to... Okay. Now I actually am managing to dodge a little bit. I don't know. I'm just killing them before they even hit the ground. I got the anti-air guns, and I'm not even pointing upward or diagonal, like diagonally upward. Now we got a big chicken. I'm jumping. I jumped into it. It's also true. It's just true that I'm not good at platformers. I've played some, right? I've pretended to have played Celeste. I actually have not really played Celeste. The only thing I've done in Celeste is to reach the end of the main story, but not the other stuff that people really care about. The type of thing that you judge performance by. So these are okay. And I don't know, it's just interesting to have this mini boss who's just really easy, and then have these like jumping bombs, which is really difficult, and have this one positional check, which is just really easy, and then now I gotta do... I'm focusing. This... Oh, his death rattle. But for real, that dude was flashing so much. This game kind of needs an epilepsy warning. Speaking of, like, it's like, I need a Chrome extension and a browser extension, because I know we're not all Chrome nerds. I'm not a Chrome nerd, actually. I just make it seem like I am. I use Chrome post-ironically. But that's the thing, right? I need a Chrome extension to avoid bombs with the heads of chickens on them, and also to avoid these flashing lights. I'm just really not... I think some games maybe underestimate... I should have held down Z just to prepare for that case. I think some games underestimate flashing lights. One game that actually accounted for this is Earthbound, because when the game was ported from the SNES into the Virtual Console, they actually toned down some of the more hectic... I just can't believe how fast that guy dies. They actually toned down some of the more hectic visuals, because that game gets pretty not only psychedelic with its background, but it does have flashing lights. I think, for example, when you are casting PK Ice. Is it PK? Or is it Psy? Maybe it's Psy. I think PK just comes from my memory of Smash Bros. And speaking of Smashing Bros, there's a city in the background which perhaps a bro may be smashed. A bro from Bone Razor Minions. No, but like really, the city is well, for one, the ground kind of doesn't exist, right? The dude's main character just does not have a body. It's just leg. It just could not be arsed to animate a body. Okay, now I gotta focus. That dude came in a little bit too quick. The cannonball from like doing the tiger strike with the using the punch buttons. Like he's like Remy from Third Strike. Somehow it's just a massive mind game to occasionally throw the sonic boom using the upper using the upper part of the screen, I guess, of the ground game. Pretend that it's like an overhead. It's not an overhead, but more so the thing about Remy is like you have to parry it upward, right, versus parrying it downward. Yeah, they really did think about the game design in that manner. So I mean, getting back to the dude in the top hat, he has no body to love him, and no body for himself to love. He is just maybe two limbs, two sections, a two-piece is one of the hidden ways to describe it. I can't remember last time I played a protagonist who is simply a two-piece, but as some may know, when Northern Lion is playing the game, there's a U-piece, and I'm the piece of chickish. Booze. That's an MF Doom reference. But yeah, this guy he just has no body, and yet he is on a presumably a crusade. I don't truly know the definition of crusade. Like, is a crusade, like, I'm sure there's obviously the historical definition, but then there's the colloquial definition. Are we going to define what the Doomslayer in Doom Eternal does as a crusade? Maybe. I guess we just say that like a little bit, colloquially, like I said. And here I'm jumping. I jumped too early. I swear, if that guy's actually the last boss and I just happen to get hit by his dying wish, I'm not going to do anything profound. I'm not going to do anything explicit. I'm not going to do anything rude. I'm just going to accept it. I swear, I will accept it. But this guy doesn't even have a chance. He doesn't even have literally no chance for him to even draw like a letter to the local Frenchmen who are just surrounding his castle. What kind of Frenchmen though? Well, maybe the one from Toulouse. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. And please, you can correct me, but just expect my knowledge to be lacking in that field. How many people even know that province of France? Maybe the entire population of France, approximately. Assuming that they teach geography properly over in... Would I even get hit by him? Whatever. Assuming that they assuming they teach geography appropriately in France. I don't think they do. Or do they? They probably... No, they do. Because you probably know where Paris is, right? And there's the Paris effect, and it's like, oh yeah, the Paris is in France, and I probably am going to learn about the Paris effect sometime during my time in France. All sorts of cultural exchange occurs on there. The Eiffel Tower, right? It's just inevitable. Like if you are a person, you're going to learn about Paris, and you don't necessarily have to be French to learn about Paris. But likely, if you are French, you are going to learn about Paris. It's just simple, basic mathematical logic. The same type of mathematics that probably was taught by multiple physicists who, like Carnot, the dude who made the Carnot engine, right? That dude probably knew about Paris, and that dude probably knew that he may or may not have been French, but he definitely knew a lot about thermodynamics. Does that make thermodynamics a French thing? I don't know. Is it French to be all about thermodynamics? Well, probably naturally, yeah, because we all abide by thermodynamics, right? Those are laws. I do believe that we have inducted them as laws at this point. Because there's the first, second, and third law, right? We got entropy, enthalpy. I don't even remember at this point. Who even remembers anything thermodynamics related? We just pretend to understand thermodynamics. Like, bro, the thermodynamics of information, just the way the internet works, Internet Archive, just constantly, the constant absence and disappearance of information off of my hard drive, which kind of rhymes, by the way. I mean, we pretend to understand the thermodynamics of information, but the truth is, do we really understand the thermodynamics of information? I'm mumbling it at this point because we don't understand how to even pronounce it properly. That's, I think, just the kind of the reality that I've grown to own. Thermodynamics is both, maybe, possibly, because I can't look it up right now because I'm playing a game because of my life decisions. I can't look up whether or not thermodynamics or the steam engine is even a French invention, but I also cannot confirm how much we understand geography, especially the political sort of geography, thermodynamics. This dude... Okay, now, finally dodge it. And see, look. Yeah, take that. Yeah, take that. Yeah, take that. Like Ace Attorney when I'm presenting evidence. And yet another Jake Clover game finished. There we go. You had to push X or escape. Maybe exit for some other keyboard modifiers out there. And this is where you get into the media review. How did people receive this? How many people even attempted to receive this? So off the bat, I see this has a massive 8,500 views which is so much more than the past Chook Driver Extreme. Almost double. Something happened. Something blew up. Maybe the fame was like starting to roll snowball, right? Roll like a snowball down an avalanche and into a specific roadkill participant. And you have 20 likes, which is it's not really like, 50% more, but it's, if you do the fractions, it's close. It was made in Game Maker. Should have noted that. Here are the comments. There are 20 comments. And there's even a load more button this time. Nick says, I knew it would turn into something like this. Still, it's as random as ever, and I love it. So when Nick says that, Game Jolt creator, okay, cool. It seems like they had insider information about this project. Because I don't know, how would you know a game about fearing chickens is going to turn into something like this? There has to be some impressive powers of prediction there. So Rob Van Sazy at I Rhyme with Roar, kind of a poet. I saw the game image and didn't even have to think about who could have possibly made this. So okay, there's a reputation at the time, 11 years ago. This is great, very alien hominidy, haha. And I know what this person means. Alien hominid, this person being astral wolf / cat. Alien hominid is just like really this. If I remember correctly, it's kind of like this Metroidvania. It's just pretty brutal. Just one life. Hey, true. Thank you. No space. Really fun, really difficult, really awesome. Thanks very much. I thought it was fun. It wasn't that difficult, but you know what? I think it is awesome. That's right. I'm about to throw a little bit of a frisbee near the area where you play horseshoes. Shank McShiv. That guy's probably an Irish pirate. Arg, I double KO'd with the boss. Oh, he got the same element as I did. Because, I'm going across the elemental periodic. I really like the scrolling background layers. Yeah, and I never really got to cover that too much. But yeah, it's there's like a parallax, I think is the visual term for it. Night Blarg claims that there is quality stuff right here, less than 3. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say there. I really love your games. Just more praise. Everyone's just this is the turning point. Everyone has amassed their own presence on here, on this page, to lend praise. Indie Game Hunt, who I've once agreed with, fun shooter or runner / shooter with awesome funky graphics, super tough, requires a good memory and fast fingers, great music. Don't know how well it fits with the Fear theme though. Just complete agreement. Funky graphics. I would not define them quite as funky unless you define funk as the musical movement around the 60s to 70s, and one that we don't really see pop up too much, although we pretend that it does. And therefore, with its own antiquity, we associate that with something akin to Atari graphics. Yeah, I do agree it's funky. Super tough. To just use like the most common adjective, yeah, it's like Dark Souls. You have a bunch of patterns that you have to memorize, phases, right? And then you just get there. You get to them eventually, right? You just understand them and you actually overcome them. Rasta Games, or Retsa, my bad, Retsa Games. This game is mad and awesome. I don't think this game, maybe he means like mad genius. This game is mad genius. Spirit of the Cold and Wind. That's so an entire fundamental of the elements. Claims that this is not bad and this was likable. This person just straight up has their full name on display. Nice runner, and I agree about the Fear theme. See, and I also agree with the dude about the Fear theme. So we technically agree by proxy. Very nice game, very funny, but I love the song. It's not really a but moment. It's more of an and moment. I want it. Sorry for my English. I'm Argentino or Argentina, or maybe that's how you pronounce that using a more Spanish pronunciation. Just a guess. Yeah, song's fine. So I want to say fairly standard chiptune. Aside from having good gameplay, it also has a style totally unlike anything else I played, and I love games like that. Yeah, that's true, but it does make me think: is it easy to make a style totally unlike anything else? for music, for visuals, for just most pieces of art? I think so. But I think the real kicker and puncher is if you can make a style that completely resonates with people, even when it is like unlike anything else. But moving on, Dester says, very nice game. Short, simple. Nathan Matthew, Great Bit Games. Again, full name on display. This was fun. It's really hard, though. You should make the mouse an option to shoot so you get ones behind you or something. IDK how to kill them. Well, that was the point. The point is you're not supposed to kill them. You're supposed to know the pattern so you can position yourself correctly. So I disagree with Nathan here. Question mark. Very cool game. It's fun to play and a unique experience. But how do we kill enemies that appear behind us? Again, the point is to avoid them. You're not supposed to really kill them. Ninja Cat says it won't start for them. I hope that they solve the problem. Maybe they're actually on Linux. Jelly Gal says, I really like the visuals and setting. It's kind of dystopian, and I got that vibe too. The gameplay is all right, but nothing too special. Okay, yeah, it's a run and gun, something akin to that. It's pretty irritating when Chooknz pop out from behind you. You really have no way of predicting that without dying once. Decent game though. So this statement about no way of predicting that without dying is, I think, just so characteristic. I feel that has to be how you immediately sum up a game like Elden Ring, perhaps, or anything Dark Souls. Anything Dark Souls, it just feels like you don't really know what's coming, and then eventually you get hit by what is the oncoming attack, and you actually adjust, right? It just seems like I understand it's a gotcha moment, but at the same time, it seems like we're okay with that. As time goes on, that seems to be the case. I'm sure it was perhaps the case in old games as well. So with all the comments covered, let's move on to how the people rated it on the only site that bothers to list ratings for this game. So on Glitchwave, this is a 1 out of 5, a very familiar rating. Starting to notice a trend. And it's the same two dudes. So the first person gave this a 3 out of 5. The second person gave this a 4.5 out of 10. So maybe they agree that this is a little bit of just a decent game. And maybe if you ask the first dude, by the way, the first dude is actually the person who submitted it onto this website. So they're doing it from a place of love and peace and calm and tranquility. But they gave it a 3 out of 5. Or 3 out of 10. My bad. 3 out of 10. It's just saying the duality of man. We'll see how it traverses forward. Wow, and the review. Mechanics. You move and hold Z. You move specifically with the arrow keys. And Z is to shoot. And there's pretty much no reason to ever let go of Z because you always want to be shooting. The only resource management I can think of is that you have 1 life. You have unlimited ammo, and the game kind of reflects that with the amount of bullet casings or cases, I think it's casings, that pop out as you shoot. It's pretty much acknowledging that, yeah, you're shooting a ton. Is it fun? Yeah, I think this is actually the most fun release by Jake Clover so far. Although the jumping bombs are a bit much and feel like a fluke when you avoid them. Which, if those jumping bombs were more powerful, I could see this not being as fun as it was. So for graphics, ease of use, and appearance, I would say that the graphics are a little bit messy, but they still, I want to say, convey the message, right? That you are a 2-piece person shooting guns out of hands against robots that appear to resemble chickens of the Australian variety in a sort of city that reminds you of 13 Sentinels. Ease of use. Yeah, it's easy to play. Maybe not to control. I felt that my movements were not able to be fine-tuned. I felt like when you took a step, right, it's maybe a little bit... I just misspelled Australia. Anyway, I felt that when you took a step, it was not, think of it, you're supposed to position yourself in very particular spots to avoid the enemies behind you. And when I'm trying to adjust my movement and I take a step and it's a little bit too much more than I wanted initially, and I get hit by the enemies that are trying to ambush me from behind, it just feels like, yeah, I would like more fine-tuned controls. But I don't know how you really do that in a Game Maker game, of course. But at the end of the day, the controls are simple to understand and you pretty much get immediate mastery of them. Appearance, there is thematic harmony, which is to say that it doesn't feel as if something is outside the scope of the game. It feels that this universe is actually being represented the way it was meant to be. So for the soundtrack, the track was just a chiptune song and it was standard. Not really much I can say there. For the sound design, I actually don't remember this too much because I was too distracted about talking about French people and thermodynamics. But I do remember that there were explosions and gunshots and stuff about chickens. The story and writing, not very much. There wasn't even a description. Basically, the story is a robot chicken invasion versus a guy with no torso. Not the most common story, so it's a unique story. Is it repetitive? Shockingly, no. I think that this is yet another game that I think truly balances the challenging aspects, the fun aspects, and avoids the repetition of trying to learn from your mistakes. The game could be restarted faster, though. I think when, of course, you get hit by some sort of robot or projectile. When I say this avoids the repetition of learning from mistakes, I feel that I'm not just like repeating the same thing over and over again, but rather that I am going through a phase and I feel that I'm actually mastering it. I can't truly explain it. I think the best way I could explain it is Slay the Spire. Every time you start Slay the Spire, you have to go through the beginning stages where you have, let's say yours, was it 5 strikes and your 5 defense, and then you build the deck using whatever cards you get in the way. It doesn't feel as if I have to start a Slay the Spire run with the 5 cards of these 2 types. Another game that actually does come to mind is Super Auto Pets. It doesn't feel like I have to start the game with the beginner animals before I get to the higher tiers. This game doesn't have that sort of building up that those other aforementioned games have. If you know, like those other, I guess I was going to call them roguelikes, but Super Auto Pets is not a roguelike. But basically, this game gives you all the tools immediately, and maybe that's kind of the aspect that makes a difference. I have played a little bit of Cuphead, and I thought that this was faster than Cuphead, but of course this is so much of a shorter game, and Cuphead is kind of trying to do something different by having you fight bosses kind of one-on-one if you don't have a co-op partner. This is more so you're going through phases of enemies, and then you have a mini boss, right? Which we also saw in Splode 'em Down in version 2. So where does this stand in the wider scheme of all things gamer? I think mechanically this doesn't do anything new. If anything, I'm going to say the same thing I wrote for the tomato game. This is just Cuphead. But this does have a premise that is uncommon. You can't really name many robot chicken invasion games where you are a torso-less, top-hatted, equipped, minigun-handed individual against this entire alien invasion. I don't think they're aliens, or maybe they are. Maybe like how in Earthbound, the Starman is actually a hybrid of robots and aliens. I don't know the lore. How would I know the lore? Or do I know the lore? Oh, I should have thought of it. Maybe it's like kind of hidden in my brain. Where does it stand amongst the work of the developer? So here are the games played so far. I think that this is actually, I said this perhaps for Chook Driving Extreme, but I think it goes here more. This is the right balance of difficulty and challenge. No, I don't think, why would you, difficulty and challenge are the same thing. No, that's not what I should write. This is the right balance of difficulty and progression, because, if something is too difficult, you can't progress. For some games, usually you are blocked off from progressing by, let's say, having a strong enemy, and to defeat that strong enemy, you need a sort of weapon, or you need to level up. But here, you don't have to Those are just examples of difficulty. I think other examples of difficulty include when the game demands mechanical skills that take far too long to master. But the mechanical skills in this game do not take too long to master, and instead you are given a situation that is not easily accessible, but you can definitely master if you attempt to put in the understanding and the mechanical calculations if you truly focus, or if you are or if you are deliberately playing. So basically, in this game, the mastery of mechanics comes fairly quick. You're not restricted by other elements. Of course, that is a little bit of an external point because so many games are designed differently. They don't all have skill levels. They don't all have mechanics, and I'm just putting it there. And you can encounter patterns and learn them appropriately without having to dedicate an excessive amount of effort. I think that gets the message across well enough, because otherwise I'm kind of out of things to say. GG's. Good games. Yeah, I did it. Wow. It's the end of a video, of an attempt. Getting it done. GG's.